Alright guys, so we're back with another video, and I'm going to show you guys how to set up the menu page. So if you watch my stream, you'll know that I have a simple menu page that looks something like this, where we have every single guild and we have buttons and stuff. So I'm just going to show you guys how to set that up. Okay, so essentially what we want to do is we only want to send the guilds that the user has permissions for. So we just need to check to see if the user has the manage guild permission. Okay, so we're gonna actually have to go to the backend this time, and we're gonna simply go into auth.js. Well, we can actually go inside discord.js instead. Okay, and what we want to do is we basically just want to get the user's guilds. So we need to actually make an external API call to the actual Discord API. So I'll actually show you how to do that. Okay, and this is actually what Discord.js does underneath the hood, and it's very simple to do. So essentially, there is this endpoint. Let me just grab it for you real quick. Okay, so there's this endpoint slash users at me slash guilds, and this is going to get all of the guilds that the bot is in. Okay, so we want to take all the guilds that the bot is in, and then we want to compare it with all the guilds that the user is in, and then we want to return the ones only that match the permissions. So if you want to get the permissions, if you want to check the permissions, it's actually also very simple to do. You just need to take the permission number, so whatever this number is returned, and you want to AND it with the actual permission number. So we're going to basically AND it with manage guild, which is 20. Well, this is actually in I think hexadecimal. Yeah, hexadecimal. So we're going to AND it and then compare it to the actual hex value, and if it's true, that means that the user has the manage guild permission. Okay, so we're going to simply go inside this discord.js route, because I already set this up already, so might as well use it. So let me just delete this. We're going to do router.get, and we're going to do, let's see, get all the guilds that the bot is in. Okay. And we're going to create one more folder called utils, and this is just going to be responsible for hitting the API. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to actually need to install a dependency called node fetch, because now we're on the backend server and we need to make API calls. So we're going to do const fetch require node fetch, and we're going to do let's see, function get bot guilds, and we're going to need to get the let's see, let me check the documentation real quick. I think that's just, actually I think that's it. We don't need any parameters. So we're going to simply just do return, or sorry, not return, const response equals, and this needs to be an async function, await fetch http discord.com/API/v6, and you could actually just put these endpoints, these routes, inside an object, but I'm not going to do that. I'll leave you guys to do that, and we're just going to copy this endpoint over here, paste that in. Okay, and what we're going to do next is we need to actually specify the method. So method, wait a minute, why is that not working? Okay, so method is going to be get, and then we have to specify headers. So for headers, we just need to pass in the authorization header, and this needs to be mapped to the bot, and then space, and then the actual token value. Okay, so I'm going to get the token from the environment variable over here. Do I have it here? No, I don't. Okay, let me actually get the token real quick. So you need this token. Well, actually, let me rename this to dashboard bot token. And I'm just going to destructure up here, or not destructure. We're going to do const token equals process.env dashboard bot token. Okay, so this is going to make a GET request to this endpoint, and in the headers we need to pass in the authorization token, which is a bot token. And now if I console, well, not console log, I'm going to just return response.json. Okay, and I'm just going to export this function now. And then over here, we're going to import it. So const require utils/API. Whoops. And then get bot guilds. So now we need to make sure this is an async callback function. Const guilds equals await get bot guilds. And let's send that to the response. Okay, so let's actually test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and try this out right now. So we want to basically visit localhost port 3001. Give me one sec. Okay, so we're going to go to /API/Discord guilds. And there you go. See how it makes all of the... So you can see right over here, it actually makes a request to the endpoint successfully. And these are all of the guilds that the bot is in. So it's in bot test, it's in simply server, it's in guardian test server, it's in IMT, dev server, USA server. Now, so these 4 servers are actually not mine. The only servers are mine are, it's a dev server and USA server. Actually, yes, these are the only 2 servers that it's in, that's mine. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to basically take all these servers, this array of servers, and then compare it with the array that the user is in. Okay, so we're basically going to do const, and let's see, let's go into user. Yep, so const user equals require database schemas user. And we're going to find one, and we're going to find it based on the Discord ID, which we can retrieve from rec.user.discord ID. Okay, because remember, rec.user is the actual user that's in the session, and it's the actual object that's from the database. So we're passing in the Discord ID, and we're going to go ahead and say if user, and I'll console log user.guilds. Let's refresh. And you can see that we have console logged user.guilds right over here. Okay. But this is actually coming from, this is actually the document itself. So we need to actually get the user guilds. So const user guilds equals user.get guilds. I'll just get rid of this. So let me just paste that real quick, refresh, and you can see this is all of the guilds that we're in. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to write a separate function. So I'll do that right over here, utils.js. And the function that we're going to write is basically going to check to see if we are actually in the same guild that the bot is in, and we want to make sure that we have the correct permission. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to implement the function. So this is just a simple function called filter, or let's do get mutual guilds. And it's going to take in 2 parameters. It's going to take in the user's guilds. So this is all the guilds that are saved from the database. And it's going to take in the bot guilds. And what we want to do is we want to basically filter out all the guilds that are mutual, or that the users are not in the same as the bot. So we're basically getting all of the guilds that the bot and the user are both in, and as well as the permissions for the user, they have managed guild. So we're going to basically do return user guilds. We're going to filter it. So for every single guild, what we want to do is we want to first check to see if bot guilds actually has that guild. So we're just going to do bot guilds.find guild. and we're going to compare the current, let's do this, bot guild. So this is going to be the parameter inside the callback function for bot guilds. And we're basically going to compare bot guild.id, and we want to make sure it's equal to guild.id. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. And we want to do one more check. We want to make sure that the user has the correct permissions. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if guild.permissions, okay, is going to be equal, or not equal, sorry. We want to check to see if guild.permissions and 0x20 is equal to 0x20. Okay, that's how you check to see if the permission is valid. So if both arrays have the same guild object or not guild object, they match the guild ID, so this means that they're both in the same guild, and you want to make sure that the permission is correct. So we're doing guild.permissions and 0x20, this is a hexadecimal value, is equal to itself. Then that means they have the actual permission. Okay, so hopefully this part makes sense. I know it's a little bit weird, but let's go ahead and close this out, and let's go back to the discord.js. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and call the function get mutual utils. Okay, we want to do, did I export it? Yeah, I need to export it. Okay, get mutual guilds. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do const mutual guilds equal get mutual guilds. We're gonna pass in user guilds. So we're gonna pass in user guilds like that, and then bot guilds like that. Okay, so now let's just send back mutual guilds. And there we go. So you can see right over here in USA server, that is where the bot is in. And let me actually just verify. So you can see right over here in my test server, I don't have the Brainy bot. You can see in Arizona server, I don't have Brainy bot as well. You can see that there is the, let's see, there is one more server, USA server, there we go. So I have it there. So this is the only server that I have the bot in. So it returns it. And you can see that the permissions match, okay? And that's all coming from, where is it? Let's see. That's all coming from this logic right over here, okay? Okay, so you can see that I'm actually in my other server right now. So this server is owned by my alt account. And you can see it has the bot, okay? And you can see that right over here, that if you go through any one of these guilds, this server is not saved in the database. So we actually need to re-authenticate ourselves. So this is a huge downside. So let's just reauthorize real quick. Okay, and let me refresh, and you should see it should say 16 now. 16, there we go. And I think one of these guilds is, yep, dev server right over here. Before it wasn't there, but now it's there. So if I actually go back to here, so if I refresh, you can see that it still shows USA server. So let me just show you guys that if I actually give myself a role that has the correct privileges, so let me do that real quick. So I'm going to give myself the admin role. You can see I have admin role now. If I refresh, let's see what's going on over here. I think we got rate limited, I think. Did we? Yeah, we got rate limited. Let's try again. Okay, so you can see that it actually isn't showing the other guild for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. We gotta check that out real quick. Okay, so I found out why it wasn't showing the actual total guilds here. So what actually happened was when I authorized myself, it gave me the original permissions. So the permissions that I didn't have when I had first joined the guild. Now, since I had given myself the permission with manage guild, it doesn't auto update in the database, because remember, this is coming from the database. Okay, so I had to actually relog in order for this to show up, because that way it would give me the brand new permissions. So it's kind of whack that we have to do that, but I know how to fix this, but I'll do that in a later tutorial. Okay, so for now, just make sure if anything changes, you need to make sure that you need to relog in. So for example, if you are added to a new guild, if like you join a new guild, you need to make sure you relog in. If your permissions get updated, you need to make sure you relog in, and etc. Okay, so it's actually kind of bad, because let's say, for example, if you get rid of the person's permissions, they can never relog in, and they will still be able to access the dashboard. But we'll fix that later on in the series. Okay, so you can see right over here we have our guilds. So we have one guild that we own, and we have one guild that we don't own, but we do have the correct permissions. So what we want to do now is we want to send this to the menu page. Well, we want to make the request to this API, and then we want to get it from the menu page. So what I'm going to do is, let me just make sure I do this real quick. So if user, then we're going to get the users and send the mutual guilds. Else we're going to return res.send or status 401 unauthorized. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go into the menu page, and we're simply gonna do this. So we're gonna get the user details, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up another route, or not route, we're gonna set up another function call, get mutual or get guilds, and then we're gonna simply just do this. Okay, we're gonna call this endpoint over here to get the guilds, and then we are going to go over here, get guilds. So when we're returning this promise call, we can chain the promise down here like this. Okay. And then now if I console log data, fresh, no errors, and we have our guilds right over here. Perfect. Okay. So now we want to update the state. So we'll do another state variable. We'll do guilds and then set guilds. And then we will just set this to an empty array. And then once we are done, we are going to just call set guilds, pass data in, and this should be just fine. Okay, awesome. All right, so now that we have gotten the mutual guilds, okay, we're going to create a new component. We're gonna call this menu component. Or menu, menu wrapper or container, doesn't really matter. Call it menu wrapper. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to basically pass in this component, or not pass in this component, we want to render this component inside menu page, because we don't want to put everything in one component, we want to decouple it. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this real quick, just change this up a little bit. So we'll just call this menu component. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and render an h1 for now, and the prop that we're gonna expect is the guilds. We can also pass a user, but we don't necessarily need that. We just need guilds for now. And I'm gonna go inside components and create an index.jsx file. And we're going to do the same thing we did in pages. We're going to export from menu wrapper, menu components like that. And I can easily import that right over here. Just like that. And if I go down over here, you can see it says hello. We're going to pass in guilds, just like that. Okay. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to render all of the guilds now. So we're going to do something called dynamic rendering, which is basically where we are going to iterate through the guilds array. And we're going to basically map through it. And we're going to return a JSX element. So it's going to look something like this. So let's do li guild.name, and you can see right over here. What's going on over here? Oh wait, sorry about that. There we go, perfect. And you can see it gives us dev server and then USA server and then USA server. Perfect. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Of course, we can create a component and then put everything inside there, which is pretty much what we can do. So that's how you're going to display all the servers that are mutual. Okay, so then from here, what we can also do is we can set up another link. So I can do something like, let's see, I can do a link component to, and I can say that I want this to map to, let's see, oh wait, whoops. Okay, so I want to click on this, and when I click on it, what I want it to do is I want it to take us to the dashboard for that guild. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to link it to, this is where the dashboard route is going to come in, so this is going to take us to the dashboard page. Okay, so we're going to do, let's see, dashboard / guild.id. Okay, so watch this. If I click on this, see how it takes us to dashboard, and then this is called a route parameter. Okay, we actually need to go inside our app.js, and we need to set up one more route. This time it's going to have a route parameter called ID, just like that. Exact equals true, and then the component will be just dashboard page, just like that. So I'm actually going to get rid of this because we don't need it anymore. So watch this. Perfect. Click on this. Look at how the URL is different. Okay, let's go back here. The URL is different. It's based on the ID. So this allows us to know which route or which guild that we're going to be configuring for. Okay, now obviously, like I said, it's up to you how you guys want to style this. I'm not going to bother styling it because I know it's going to be different for everyone. I'm just showing you guys the main functionality. So you can go ahead and design your own user interface, and it's going to work the same way. When you click on whichever button, it's going to take you to the actual endpoint. This could theoretically be a button. We click on it, bam, takes us to the dashboard page. Takes us to the dashboard page. Okay, so I think that should be it for the menu page. Hopefully this makes some sense on how it works. And that's pretty much it for this video. So I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace.